I wanted to share with you how I improved my lawnmower. I know there's lots of suspension kits you can buy out there, and the main question I keep seeing popping up all the time is, will it fit my mower? And I can never get that definitive answer to my Snapper 360Z. So I can guarantee you now this modification does work, and I actually owe a lot of thanks to another video I saw. Some guy had used this universal tractor seat to mount it to I think it was a Cub Cadet, and it got me thinking in different ways because I was thinking originally of that one under the seat, but this was really quite nice because it was cheaper and really easy to do. Now what I used was this particular universal tractor seat. I've seen these a little cheaper online places, but this is my local farm store. I needed it right then, right now, and it was around $100. Very well made. This has springs on there plus a shock absorber. I was really impressed the quality of this thing. I hope it holds up. I mean, I don't know why it wouldn't. What's nice about this too, because the old seat I had, the original seat, was not adjustable. Okay, you had to release the bolts and slide it around. This is nice because you can just flip a lever and you can slide the seat back and forth. So it's really a good thing. I made a close-up picture of the specifications to make sure it fits on your situation. Now my mower just has a flat plate. That's what the seat mounted to originally, and you can see on mine it's just hinged to the front here, and this is part of the why the ride is so terrible because it's bolted right to the frame. Um, and I did have to drill an extra hole. There wasn't an extra hole in the middle here, so I actually had to drill one hole in the front. Now we'll be adding a couple more holes to it. Um, but I want to make sure things were working just right before I put some extra holes into it. I went ahead and used grade 5 bolts, so they're not a problem. I probably should never even have to mess with this again, but just for safety. Now this is the upside bottom side of mine. You can see the original, just the springs is all I had for suspension, which was not enough. One of these holes was already in here. I did have to add a second hole, like I said, and I will be adding more just for safety. Now, the original seat, I did not get a picture of the switch into the original seat. My apologies there, but it was a pretty fast dismantling. And then what you're going to find, this is looking at the bottom of the seat where the 4 bolts were that bolted onto that plate, but right in the middle here, you're going to see a switch with little retaining tabs. And what I found is that if you push those tabs in toward each other, then you can push the whole switch up into the seat. It does not pull out. You push it up into the seat. Then you can use the wires attached to it and turn it around and take it out this little square space in the bottom. Evidently designed so you can replace the switch without having to dismantle the whole seat, which is probably a really good design. And you're going to have to unplug the plug, and you have to reassemble it all back together because it won't work without the plug plugged in. And I even found out it's kind of a smart plug. If you unplug the switch, it activates contacts in the plug itself, rendering it like you're no one sitting on the mower. And you can see those little retaining tabs up here. I had to use a real fine screwdriver to push up there and kind of push those tabs out of the way, and then I could pull these plugs out. And you can see what I did. I soldered some multi-stranded wire. You need multi-stranded wire for flexibility, but I soldered multi-stranded wire to each one of them. And then I just reassembled them right back in the plug again. But where these 2 wires go, I took that to what's called a 1/8 inch mono plug and jack. Okay, that's how I plug the whole system together. If I ever then sell this lawnmower or upgrade it, I can just unplug it, put the original seat back in or original switch back in the seat, and it's going to function just as it did. So it was nice. This is a close-up on the plug part. Now mono means two in this case because if your plug you have has 3 sections here, that's a stereo, and you're going to find 3 wires, and that's going to be just kind of confusing. So just find a mono. Sometimes these are listed as audio or sometimes even power plugs, but mine is 1/8 inch or 3.5 millimeters depending on where you're from. Makes it real simple. Just add these together, and you can see down the bottom here, there's the plug and jack. I just got them plugged in. Now you are going to have to still tape the plunger down on the original seat. The original seat was normally closed, which means the contacts were normally closed until you stud on it. I'm still using the same logic, but I'm just using another switch at the top to, to do that same logic. I'll explain. So once you get it together, zip tie the wires out of the way. I tried to keep them out of the way best I could. Nothing moves here. I mean, the back here does not adjust. You can remove the bolts, but right now, once you got them bolted together, there's no moving parts to pinch the wire here. And on the base, there's plenty of space for the wire to go through, so it should not be a problem when even adjusting the seat back and forth. As all this mechanism here actually falls on the inside of this holder, so there's really nothing to pinch the wires here. Here's a close-up on the switch. I used a long lever action switch, and you can see on the switch many times on these switches they're labeled. You're looking for a COM, NC, and NO. COM means it's common because that is common between the two switches built in here, and you want to use the NO or normally open switch. Okay, now I did make this little 3D printed part holder that just clips on here, and I use zip ties to hold it in place. Doesn't change anything. I can easily repair it. I did print this at 100%, and I did not drill the holes in here in the design. I drilled the holes later because how this thing works was this switch, when the seat's all the way up there, the switch is actually activated. There's enough pressure on this switch raising up in the spring that it flips that switch on and breaks the contacts. Of course, when I sit on the seat, what that does, it drops the whole seat down, and then it actually engages the switch then. So I had to make sure that that lever was just working fine. And that's what I did. I just put this first bolt through here and drilled it, got the angle right, tightened it up, and then drilled the second part back here to make sure it would stay in the right angle here too. So all the wires need to be taped down, no movement, so for longevity. I did upload these STL files, this little holder, Thingiverse, OT, and AT. Like I said, there's no holes printed in this. This was printed in PETG, 100%, a little bit more strength. The switch itself is, you can find these all over, the long lever action snap switches. And you can, if you look carefully, you can see the printing's on here too. So, but anyway, this has really improved the ride of the mower and my back after I mow. So if you're looking for this 360Z, well, this is a good adaptation. Hope it helps.